Brian.
Ronna, happy Thanksgiving.
How did we do it? How did we get this far?
We are all the way at this point, Ronna. We're over a year into this.
There were moments. We are just over a year into this, I suppose, right?
Yep.
There were moments where I didn't think we'd get here. And
I always knew we'd get here.
I knew too. I'm not going to pretend.
I'll tell you this though. I didn't know we'd get here.
Like, you didn't know this would be a bustling enterprise.
I didn't know that the enterprise would have been built so quickly. And that's been incredible. We have the best-selling Hanukkah blend ever.
No question.
It's the best. I mean, we're actually making history at this point.
Actually, that's sort of true. I mean, I have to say, and we have to thank everyone on the free feed and everyone who's here with us in the Carriage House, because they have made the coffee a hit. And it's
true.
It's so funny, but it's such a satisfying feeling, because we were thinking of then when we developed the coffee.
Yeah.
And then it's so nice to see them meet us halfway and say, I love that, Ronna. I love that, Brian. I love the show. I want to support the show.
You feel the warmth, and not just from the mug.
I want to support the show. Big deal. I get a bonus of a bag of coffee. Isn't that fabulous?
Yeah.
And it's been absolutely heartwarming to see. It really has.
And Ronna, I have to say, the hits don't stop there.
Well, and the support for Hanukkah has been really important, I have to say.
Sure, yes. Especially in a year. Yep.
In a year, or coming out to the tail of a 4-year period where things have felt a little rocky. It's very nice to see that people are supporting the Hanukkah blend, the Ronnukah blend. But the truth is, it's really a holiday blend. I mean,
it is, Ronna,
and I want people to know it's for everyone. I don't want people to feel in any way that they're not included in this.
Ronna, it's my favorite blend. I feel very included in it.
I love the sniff.
And B, I have to say, like, you should buy this blend. And if you're thrown off because it's a Ronnukah Hanukkah, then look deeper. That's
it's really just a gorgeous chocolate mocha.
And holiday, really you know what? Let's just call the holiday has plenty of blends. Hanukkah has very few.
It's so true. Well, not very few, just
None.
one, as far as we know. This is the world's only and leading holiday blend.
We're already
Hanukkah
on the phone
blend
with Guinness trying to get this in the record books.
That's exactly right. We are.
Yeah.
But I am just so thankful for everything that we built in the Carriage House the last year. And so, of course, this week, look, some people upset that they're not with their families. Some
you
people
should be thrilled.
Are secretly delighted that they're not going to be with their families. I think we'll all, God willing, with this vaccine, et cetera, et cetera. I know I said God willing. I guess it's just
never heard you say that.
I think it's a habit. It's not really my thing to say that.
Right.
But I said it. So I don't know. We need another saying for willing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but
if the spheres,
Ronna willing.
Yeah, sure.
All the vaccines are going to.
You're really getting a big head over there, Ronna.
Ronna willing, all these vaccines come to market as quickly as they can, and we're all back to the new normal next year.
Correct.
But look, the most important thing is that we stay safe.
Yes.
That we take care of each other. Of course, we're going to miss certain people, and other people we're going to be happy not to say. But we thought our Cliffhangers episode was such a hit over the summer.
People could not get enough. Because, Ronna, basically, it's a greatest hits episode, except only the Carriage House has heard these hits. They're going to love hearing them again. But the free feed hasn't heard these hits.
Never heard the answers to these questions.
So
we
this
tease
is like
them every week.
Yes.
And we say, if you want to hear the answer, join us at patreon.com/Ask Ronna, which they really should. I mean, $5 gets them into the Carriage House.
Come on. You can watch movies with us. You can read books with us.
We're reading books. We have best-selling New York Times author Cynthia Dupree Sweeney in our book club.
She comes monthly to tell us what to read.
We've been letting people vote on the book lately. And then this month for December, we're even letting them vote on the movies we're going to watch, which is really getting a little crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
What do you think we're going to end up with?
I wasn't happy with almost any of the selections.
I still need to go through them.
If you go to patreon.com/Ask Ronna, the poll is up now so they submitted their ideas and now the poll is up, but there's a million things on the poll. But don't worry, Brian, if you don't like any of them, we can absolutely just
We do have veto power.
Cut them all. The
decision is ours to make.
But so we decided to do a classic Cliffhangers episode this week, a family edition, because we thought that's where everybody's minds were going to be for Thanksgiving.
What could be more comforting than a classic edition of anything, truly?
Yeah.
You know?
So anyway, and again, we'll just remind people the coffee they can get at AskRonnaCoffee.com. The gift boxes are flying off the shelves. So those
because
start
it's the
shipping.
perfect gift, Ronna. It's a gorgeous gift, and it's a beautiful. It really, I cannot overstate. This coffee is beautiful. It is. It is an elevated coffee experience.
We worked really hard on the experience.
Exactly.
It comes in this gorgeous, and I haven't even described this yet to people. I'm going to describe it now because I have been trying not to inundate them.
Okay.
It comes in a pristine white box.
Yeah.
With 2 of the cutest red kisses on the outside.
So cute.
Very subtle. And so you think very clean, subtle, a little Ask Ronna white packing tape. Then you open the box.
And if you're a guy who's married to a woman, you have to tell your wife immediately, this is not what you think.
This is not what you think. This isn't lingerie.
Right, exactly.
Well, they're still going to get that idea. Then they open the box and they are met with the most gorgeous leopard tissue paper that is closed by 2 kisses.
So now you're thinking, I did not feel like having sex with you tonight, but I guess that's where this is going.
Now you're thinking there's a riding crop in there.
Yes.
And then you open it up and it's just either 2 mini bags or 3 full-size bags of the most gorgeous coffee you've ever seen.
A 6 or a 12.
Yep. And the beautiful new carriage has scoop, of course.
Which is really the thing the things for me that takes it from a Nordstrom to a Neiman.
Well, don't ever bring a Nordstrom up with me.
What's wrong with Nordstrom?
Isn't that rude? And the other thing they have is if you get the gift box, you get all of the Ronnukah stickers. You get the whole collection.
You do?
So if you order the regular coffee, you just get what you get. But if you order you get the limited edition. But in the box, you get all of the Ronnukah stickers, which is very exciting. And
I'm
they're so
excited
cute.
to get mine.
And the Ronnukah look this year is a real Debbie Harry, CBGB, 80s punk.
It is.
Blue leopard, happy Ronnukah. That's our look this year.
It's so cool. It's very cool.
The other thing I want to tell people is that we are, as a little treat, as we like to do on occasion, releasing the full video of this on youtube.com/AskRonna. So if you want to see what it feels like to have sauna privileges and to watch Brian and I do the show, you can treat yourself when you're done watching, the Charlie Brown Christmas special or whatever it is.
Yes, put this on.
You can put this on your YouTube and you can play it right on your Apple TV.
Yep.
Now, enough already. Should we get to this cliffhanger insanity?
Let's do it, Ronna.
Okay.
I'm ready to get weird.
So what's this first one?
Okay, so the first one comes from Patreon 15, where we were just little babies 2 weeks into Patreon, basically.
Oh, can you believe it?
I mean, honestly, we originally read this with Misha Collins, who everyone knows. I think his show just ended. Didn't Supernatural just finish?
Isn't that a fun coincidence? So Supernatural just finished.
Yep.
And Misha has been all over the news, of course. And if people haven't listened to the Misha episode, they should go back and listen to it. And actually, they can watch, I think, at least 5 minutes of the free feed of that, if not more.
So this was truly, this will make you so happy if you're not with your family this year that you're not with them, because this was one of those that was so tense, so awkward.
Yeah.
That thing where you see someone you don't want to see on an app.
Yeah.
And then you see them.
Yeah.
Whether it's your math teacher,
Sure.
your barber, your cousin's husband.
Your cousin's husband.
Oh,
is
chilling.
on Tinder.
Give it a listen.
Okay. Hello, beautiful Ronna, Brian, and distinguished guest. Love the show, which we don't have a guest. This is Was that a buzzer? Did you do a buzzer? In my life, I couldn't have ever imagined you making a buzzer sound.
I don't know if I've ever done it. It might be the first time.
If we were on the Newlywed Game and someone said, what's the most unlikely sound? And they gave me a list of 4 sounds that you could make, I'd say buzzer. no question he would never do a buzzer.
I don't know that I've ever done it. Maybe I've been watching too much Family Feud.
Oh, that was real. Have you been watching? Did you watch Family Feud at night? Oh, no, that was Price is Right at night.
Price is Right at night. I didn't watch that. I need to go back and watch, but I've been watching Supermarket Sweep on YouTube, old episodes. And I've been watching, this is real free feed, honestly.
Yeah, this is very free feed. Yeah, save this for the free feed. But I will say, someone was saying to me, think about that, how amazing that was that RuPaul was on nighttime. I mean, Price is Right, which is the most down the road, middle of America. Look at how the world has changed.
Yeah, you're right.
But anyway, that was saying how wonderful that was that he was on Family Feud. This is so free feed.
Well,
this episode should be called Free Feed. I mean, free feed bonus. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of free feed, let's get back to our cliffhanger.
Oh boy.
I'd prefer anonymity. Thank you. By the way, that's one of the things I'm very impressed with you about. Wherever you leave off in a letter, I think it's something you feel very strongly about. Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
Oh my God.
You never go back to the beginning of the sentence. You will only ever pick up from the word that you left off.
I've never noticed that, but you're right. It's clearly a choice I'm making.
The next line is, here's the rub. I'm a single. If I interrupted, you would say, I would go back and read, here's the rub again. And you would say, Mom, on a couple of dating apps.
Who has the time, Ronna?
Here's the rub.
Okay.
I'm a single mom on a couple of dating apps. I happened to be on Tinder and came across my cousin's husband. Mm-hmm. I don't speak to my cousin regularly, but I do speak to her sister quite often. What do I do? My married cousin is gorgeous, fun, and has been living her best life by all accounts. She's already been married once before to a stoner bum, and the new husband seemed much more mature, hardworking, and dedicated. I am gobsmacked to read in his profile that he is in a loveless marriage and his wife isn't taking care of him. Put a pin in that. I want to talk about that. Woe is him. I really hesitate to tell anyone. I feel like Dan Savage would tell me to mind my own business. Maybe that's the right way to go, but I just feel really upset on her behalf. She deserves better than this. I've thought about telling his sister to get her advice, but that would essentially just be me putting my burden on her. I think I'd want to know if it was my husband, but maybe ignorance is bliss, especially now. Sincerely, unfortunately, aware. The thing I'm putting a pin in is I didn't know you could on Tinder just look for mistresses. In your profile, you can put married, but sort of wish I wasn't.
I have no idea. I wonder if he could be writing that in a paragraph about himself or something, like in a byline.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't that unbelievable? That
it's unbelievable. It's so bold.
That's what Ashley Madison is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where or sugardaddies.com or one of those.
It's so disrespectful. And it's just information that's not even needed.
Well, it's a real psychotic move because it's the kind of it's the equivalent of when a guy said, and we're going to get off topic here a little bit, but we'll come right back. It's the equivalent of when someone says, just so you know, I'm not looking for a relationship. When you start dating them and then you date them for 6 months or 6 years and they say, I told you at the beginning I wasn't looking for a relationship.
People evolve.
And you think, but you called me 6 times a week. You took me to dinner.
Yeah.
You took me to Paris. You took me to this and that. And then when I said, we've been going together for 7 years, you think we should consider moving in together? You said, I told you I wasn't looking for a relationship.
That's absurd. That's actually disgusting that people do that.
It's a clause in a contract at the beginning of the contract.
It's just an easy out. Yeah, it's like a prenup.
Yeah. What do you think about this?
Normally I don't think people should get involved. I actually think you should. I don't know the best way to do this because usually, of course, you want to do something like this in person. Not especially. Okay. If quarantine weren't happening, I would screen grab that profile and I would meet with your cousin and say, I noticed this, whatever, my friend noticed this. I know you might not like that I'm telling you this, but this is who you're married to. I mean, he references you in a dating profile and calls it loveless and that he's not being taken care of. With quarantine, it's really, because I doubt he's dating right now. If he is, that's another get out of there situation. If he's like sneaking out and doing something. But
That's true, yeah.
But I don't know. I think this is an instance where I would want to know, because this guy seems like he's begging to get caught. I don't know who would write such a thing. That is so mean.
It is. It's nasty, and it's humiliating, and it's in some ways, because it's public. I mean, to some extent, it's public. Even if, okay, it's a paid service. Okay, there's 40,000 people on the paid service.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is, she saw it. People are seeing this.
Yeah.
So the wife is being discussed in a forum without her permission, which is humiliating. It just is. I mean, I'm not saying she should take it as humiliating. I'm saying he is dealing her a public humiliation of some kind.
Yeah.
The notion of a loveless marriage, it's such an empty thought, such an empty, I mean, life is so much more complicated. You know, it feels like such a thing you would hear on like an 80s nighttime drama. I'm in a loveless marriage.
Right.
That's some sort of an excuse. Because
really, I think what he wants to say is sexless, is my guess.
Yeah, though who knows? Maybe he's still having sex with his wife all the time.
Right.
I know couples that have broken up that the whole marriage is irreparable. They hate each other's guts, and they would still have sex until the moment they sign the divorce papers.
Fine.
I mean, may as well get something out of it, I suppose. But I sort of think she says the thing about she doesn't want to put the burden on the sister. If you're really close with the sister, I sort of think you should discuss it with the sister. Do you think that's crazy?
No, I don't actually. I think that this is someone who, especially if this isn't a cousin you talk to a lot, it might actually be less embarrassing coming from her sister.
I think you should say, well, first of all, keep in mind whatever the dynamic is between the two sisters. Because if the sisters are jealous and dislike each other and all of that, it's really would be double embarrassing. If they have that kind of competition, it would be doubly embarrassing for the sister this is happening to, for that sister to have something on her.
Totally.
So you don't want to give her that. Just
and
because
I think
you
also
don't know how to deal with it.
That
but
sister will know, like, yes, where she can go or what. Yeah.
I came across this thing, and I don't know if I should talk to Molly about it or not.
Who's Molly?
Molly's going to be the name of the one who's being cheated on.
Okay, that's cute.
Like Molly and Me.
That was a sad movie.
I never saw it, but the dog was cute.
I didn't see it either, but I could just tell it was sad.
Yeah, I can't watch anything about an animal. An animal that doesn't make it the whole way, I can't watch it.
Especially
golden. But I also don't want to watch anything about an animal that drives a car or gets into a scrape. But, you know.
It's true. I have such a love for animals.
Ventimiglia did some sort of a dog movie last year.
Like Racing in the Wind with My Dog or something.
Something equally as poetic as that title. And
The Art of Racing in the Rain. That's what it was called.
The art of anything is a problem.
No thanks.
Thumbs down. There goes the buzzer. The buzzer thumbs down, which is only for sauna privileges. They can see the thumbs down.
And this is all. I look like Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator when I do it.
One of my favorite films.
I know it is. That's a movie you say you can watch anytime.
I'll tell you something. I watched another Australian movie over the weekend. I'll tell you about it.
Oh, okay.
Even though we're not doing Quiff today,
Honey.
I'll give you a little extra hint about what I watched over the weekend. I watched so many great films over the
did too.
weekend.
I watched a couple, but yeah.
And there's one that I wished I had chosen for Quiff, which I almost decided to choose for Quiff just because I wanted to talk about it with you. But I'll mention it in a minute. Anyway, I think you should say to the sister, look, I was on Tinder. I came across this thing. I'm really upset about it, but I don't know what to do. And I'm sorry to have to bring this to you. But I assume you know a little bit more about what's going on in their house and their marriage than I do. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to embarrass Molly. And maybe Molly is living in bliss here. Maybe this is how she likes it. Maybe she likes this guy's more together and she likes the way that feels and how it looks to the world. And maybe she only cares about how things look to the world. This marriage is going to fall apart one way or the other anyway.
It really is, yeah.
But it would be nice if it was maybe, depending on what Molly's like, it would be nice if it was a little bit more in her control to make the decision instead of having it happen to her again, so to speak.
Couldn't agree more.
So I think you should talk to the sister if they have that kind, if you have that kind of relationship, or if they have that also have that kind of relationship. If not, I sort of think you stay out of it.
Yeah, as infuriating as that is.
Especially
listen, my advice
now.
is usually to stay out of it, but you just you're right. I mean, pressure's high right now. I don't know. I mean, she's going to be in the same house as this person. Did she mention if they had a family? She didn't.
She doesn't mention, and I did wonder about that.
Yeah.
My guess is maybe she has kids from an earlier relationship, and they don't have kids together.
But I do think that the sister
But this marriage
will know,
is doomed.
I do think that the sister will know better than the cousin about how to handle this, and whether or not if the sister says butt out, then butt out.
Or just pick the person that is closest to that cousin.
Yeah.
But the most important thing I would say, because families are very tricky, is pick someone you trust.
Yes.
So if that's your mother, if that's your cousin's mother, if that's a different cousin, someone who knows all the dynamics and that you trust. But I think probably you stay out of it. If this guy is so openly posting like this,
pretty brazen, yeah.
You're not the only person that's seeing it. They
No.
obviously live in the same area.
Dirtbag.
And it's going to come out. He wants it to come out.
Yeah.
Also, he's a jerk.
He's
Don't
such
feel
a
bad.
jerk.
Don't feel bad. This is not, they've been married for 20 years and someone is feeling neglected and the other person makes a mistake, and are they going to stay together? Are they not going to?
This guy probably goes home every night and is like, by the way, you're lucky to have me, or some shit like that.
They've only been married for a minute.
And also, it is, I do sympathize with this listener. It's horrible to have the burden of information like that.
It is.
Unless it's someone you really can't stand. But even then, it's sort of horrible. This sort of information. It just
But you know
isn't a
what?
good
There's all
feeling.
kinds of things going on in people's relationships and all kinds of bargains that people make.
Totally.
And you just can't. It's okay to not say everything. It really is.
Yeah.
But I think you should tease this out a little bit more and see if there's someone you can discuss it with.
Not to mention,
Because I have to say, her letter is very kind. She isn't saying, we're not getting a letter where she says, can you believe this?
No.
She's saying, this stinks.
I have
What
this
should I do
burden.
about it?
Yeah, what should I do? I also think that the answer is different pre-COVID because presumably he's not going out and seeing someone right now.
Well, who knows
you don't
what
know.
he's doing.
Yeah, you
But
don't
what
know.
we do, or if he's having these dates or online, masturbating or whatever he's doing. But,
Ronna, I'm not going to have any
So
voice tomorrow
funny.
from doing that so much.
So funny. Oh, really? Just from doing 3 buzzes? You're going to lose your
Very-
instrument
I have a
from
very-
3 buzzes?
Ronna, my instrument is a work in progress.
Well, you better
constantly.
make sure you make yourself a hot tea after this.
I will.
All right. We better move on. Well, wait a minute.
Ronna, I can't
mean,
even look at you.
That was... Do you think there's any chance you and I could run into each other on an app?
I can't imagine.
What app could we run into each other on? The Bed Bath & Beyond coupon app?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, the CVS app?
The Shoebies app. Oh, we could run into each other on Extra Bucks.
Yeah, you got me into Extra Bucks, so I think we could run into each other on the
Are you
Extra
still
Bucks app.
doing your Extra Bucks?
I am, but I don't go to CVS like I used to.
No, it's hard during
So
the
I'm not
pandemic.
collecting like I used to.
Yeah,
I'm
though
not getting
I
the
think
big
they're starting
bucks.
to do curbside, but I don't know. You really have to go into the store.
I think you do
to get
the full
it done.
experience. That's
Yeah.
right.
All right. So moving on, I did think we gave fabulous advice. I thought that was accurate. I thought we told them how to handle it. And I believe, I can't remember if there was an update from that person. And if there hasn't been,
We'd
love
like
one.
to- we'd like
still
one.
love, we'd still love updates. This goes for everything.
Yeah.
If there are updates, send us updates.
Of course.
And we will dig right back into those archives and we will give the update.
Absolutely. These are classic questions, so everyone will remember these.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we have a real soft spot for Canada on this show because.
Well, do you, Ronna?
I don't, but we have a lot of Canadians that have, let's put it this way, have slipped into the carriage house.
By the way, on both sides of the microphone.
Totally.
Yeah.
Adam O'Byrne, who is a producer extraordinaire. Yeah, who I couldn't love more unless he was American. He is actually. He has American citizenship, but he's got dual. I think he's got triple. He's got Irish too.
What?
Moose Musselman, who we love, of course.
Yeah, our favorite, who we see all the time.
Brian has such a you took on Sabrina Jaleese's feelings about Moose Musselman.
The difference is
you feel
Sabrina
you're being displaced by him.
The difference is Sabrina Googled Moose Muscle Man.
That was a real turn that she took. She was so happy and then so disappointed.
She did. She rode the wave with me. Yeah,
got very dark with her.
Is it?
And of course, Megan Rath, of course, is right from Montreal. We love her. But in any event, this question came to us from one of our listeners up north, pardon me, like Nanook the North.
Cute.
And this was Patreon 25. And the question was first read on the free feed with Naomi, who we adore, and Andy.
What a power couple. I love
Mabel's
them.
been eating a lot of poop lately.
I did see that. And don't think I haven't thought about it quite a few times since I read it.
Now, this is, I'm not sure why they feel they have to humiliate Mabel by sharing that.
Poor Mabel.
And I think it's cat poop that she's eating, actually.
Oh.
I think she's finding her way into the litter box.
Sure.
I'm sorry I brought that up.
That's okay, Ronna.
In any event, here we go. This was, I have to say, one of the doozies of all time. And we gave this a lot of thought. So I think this was the one about the Toronto Maple Leafs baby shirt.
Yes.
And this is the one, this for sure is something that people on Free Feed, I bet you we got at least 25 new Patreons just from them hearing this, because who didn't want to hear the answer to this question?
And again, if you didn't go home for Thanksgiving, you're not with your family, this is going to just set your sweetheart right at ease that you didn't go.
No one's been happier that they didn't have to go home for Thanksgiving than the daughter-in-law that wrote us this letter.
No kidding.
Okay, without further ado. We have to get right into
Ronna,
this.
I mean, this was a roller coaster of a question. It really was. This took us on a ride.
You know, the cliffhangers have been terrific lately, but this, I don't even know where they're coming up with this stuff.
This gave us some highs and some really sort of serious lows. It was
very excited to see what you have to say about this.
Oh God. Well, I think you should be more excited.
Okay.
I just think your advice will be better. But
well, nothing in life quite prepares you for this question.
That's true.
It's not like I've answered. A lot of times we get questions and they're sort of similar.
Right. Where
it's not like I've answered this one before.
Correct. That's true. This is a unique question.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Ronna, Brian, and guest. No guest. Okay. I always love your wisdom when it comes to delicate topics. What I really hope is that Ronna can predict my personality flaws from just one paragraph, and Brian gives me sensible advice that resolves this situation at all costs. During quarantine, my mother-in-law did some redecorating around the house, and the piece de resistance is the powder room. Ronna, I remember in an episode once you advised one of your listeners to make the powder room a, quote, little gem. A jewel. I did say a jewel box.
Jewel, but little gem is a lettuce.
Not groceries. What day does it come out?
Monday.
On Monday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks,
Tune in
Ronna.
for groceries.
Tune
little
in for
gem.
groceries.
I love groceries. I can't
I
wait.
do too. It's very confusing because it's in the Throwing Shade feed. So if you want to find the episode, go to Throwing Shade and you'll see.
Okay, so groceries doesn't have they don't have their own feed. It
will be
Throwing
moving
Shade.
to its own feed in like 6 months, but we're starting it on the Shade feed. Yeah.
Okay, go to Throwing Shade for groceries.
Thank you.
Okay. Not to drag my mother-in-law or anything, but not everyone has the taste level of you, Ronna. Case in point, the theme of her powder room is Toronto Maple Leafs.
Now, I thought she meant the Leaves. Like literally the theme is Leaves.
The hockey team.
I didn't know. I mean, I knew that they were a team, but that's not where my mind went on first
We
reading
should have
this.
brought Adam O'Byrne in for this because he's from Toronto.
Well, Ronna, he probably says Toronto.
Well, it is Toronto, but I don't say, or they say Toronto, but I don't say Toronto. I say Toronto.
Toronto, yeah, because that's how it's spelled.
Because I'm not from Toronto.
True.
Yeah. You can't start saying everything the way people from the places say
No,
them.
because then you sound like an absolute a-hole.
Philadelphia.
Oh, good luck with that. That is the hardest.
Philadelphia. Instead of Philadelphia. Philadelphia.
Felly. Yeah.
Jersey Shore, Foley.
Yeah.
Down to shore.
That's pretty good.
You know, I like to do accents. On occasion, I like to do a little accent.
You do them well. I would say Philadelphia might be the hardest accent in the country.
Water. They love to say water.
Water.
You going to go down to shore? Drink some water down to shore?
Yep.
Okay.
No.
Now all those people are going to be right and say, Ronna, you don't know how to do a Philly accent. Okay, well, I apologize. All right. It's painted bright blue and white, cluttered in memorabilia, and proudly hung above the toilet is a little hockey jersey that my husband and I gifted them 4 years ago. We had broken the news of our first pregnancy with the hockey jersey, custom made with the family name on it. But I had a miscarriage in the second trimester. When she sent the photos, I think she expected us to be really touched by the gesture. Instead, I was shocked at how obtuse it was. Miscarriage, bathroom, National Hockey League. It was all too much for me to wrap my head around. She sent along a message illustrating her good intentions, but her words reopened a wound I thought had healed. I sent back a thumbs up emoji. My first inclination is to cry, then laugh, and put it in the file folder in my brain along with backhanded compliments. On the other hand, it bothers me to think that any visitors to their place may get the story and that I'll have to nod politely and thumbs up for the rest of my life or as long as the newly framed art piece hangs above the toilet. What would be a tactful way to express my feelings about this? Is it unreasonable to expect a recipient of a gift to treat it a certain way? Any advice or insight you can provide would be greatly appreciated. Signed, Confounded Canadian.
I have to say this. The Canadians are just about the nicest people in the world.
True.
Because
that is true.
This is so inappropriate and wild. And I don't know this mother-in-law. I actually think it would be so evil and wicked of her to have done this to provoke you. So I don't know that that's what's happening. I would tell your husband to just straight up steal it and take it off the wall. I would. I would just... How can you not understand how tactless that is? And how can you not understand that a thumbs up is a fuck you? Those are my two questions.
Well, the mother-in-law's
That's
older,
true.
so she's not going to understand what a thumbs up is.
That's true.
I mean,
she's probably going to think it means like, great.
Terrific.
She
thumbs
loves
up.
it.
Wonderful. She hasn't even ever given a thumbs up in her life, let alone a thumbs up emoji. So she didn't take it in the passive aggressive way that you intended it, first of all.
Right.
Second of all, now the mother-in-law first of all, why do they have it up there? Okay. I don't think they did it to provoke her. I don't think they did it to upset her in any way. They're obviously huge Toronto Maple Leaf fans.
And so they just thought that was like, listen, it's not a slight. It just works with the theme.
It's cute.
Oh, God. No, I mean, I guess that is what their pathology was.
It's a cute shirt.
Sure.
These are people that are decorating the powder room like it's a bar.
Right.
Okay? So, of course, they're going to include what they happen to have, which is the cutest little Toronto Maple Leaf shirt you've ever seen in your life that has their last name on it. These are the people that we're dealing with. People that would do a Toronto Maple Leaf themed powder room.
Right.
Do not have whatever this worldliness is that you're hoping that they're going to possess and whatever this sensitivity that you're expecting from her. These are very simple people.
Because also it seems like if you're doing that much, the Toronto Maple Leafs, do you say, I know that the plural of leaf is leaves, but do you say for the team Leafs or leaves?
It's a good question.
Weird.
You must, well, we can't scream we can't scream at Dante to do a Google for us because Ross, can you do us a Google? and
Will
take
you
a can you do us a Google and find out what the plural of Toronto Maple Leafs is, and then you're permitted to speak.
The team, not the the arbor.
Yes. For us, is still even with us.
But listen.
But
Oh, no, yeah. So the Toronto Maple Leafs are their religion, basically. So that's coming
Yes.
before anything.
These are like cheesehead people. Those people that wear a cheese head at the Green Bay Packer
Bay
game.
Leaves. I mean,
Yes,
the
at the Bay
Packers.
Green, the Wisconsin Bay Leaves. You know who I'm talking about. The Turkish Bay Leaves.
It's Toronto Maple Leafs.
FS.
Yes, FS.
That makes sense because it wouldn't look good in writing if it was VES.
can I say something, Ronna?
Yeah. Thank you, Russ.
In terms of Googling, I think
Yeah.
we've got a winner. I think we've got a
Well,
winner.
all we know is we have someone that's willing to Google.
That's true.
Yeah.
Ross did that so fast.
Dante was doing something else when the last time we called him on. I do like calling for him like Siri though. Thank you, Ross. But in any event, these are simple people with a one-track mind, and you happen to have gifted them the cutest little shirt in the world. Okay? But you do say in your letter that she sent you a note trying to illustrate her good intentions. So what that makes me think, there's a big piece of information missing here, which is I wondered if they'd had another child since then. And I'm guessing that they have not.
That's how I would read it too. But
I
yeah.
think if they had, they would sort of shrug and that shirt would represent everybody. But maybe not. But maybe not. Because the truth is it does provoke a story. Where'd you get that shirt? Oh, when they did the baby reveal, they gave us the shirt. It's so cute. Where'd you get it? They gave it to us. They did? They just gave it to you? Why would they give you a baby shirt? Because. So I think, honestly, this woman is very simple. Oh, the FedEx guy. I can't.
Ronna, you made your bed. You made your bed.
You've never been more right about it. But you know what? I have to be nice to people. I have a reputation to uphold as
That's
a customer service ally.
That's true. It's not, listen, we looked at FedEx as strangers and now we look at them as colleagues.
Or as first responders.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. And if I want the first response from him to be to bring my Lemire straight to the door instead of letting it sit in the trunk and get hot
That's
in
true.
in the truck all day, I need to be nice.
It's worth it.
But in any event, I think you just have to say something. And you could write her a letter if you want to. If you don't want to have this conversation, you could write her a letter or an email and just say, I think the bathroom looks great. I totally understand where you were going with it or whatever. But I have to say, and maybe I'm being oversensitive and blah, blah, blah. But I have to say, it's pretty much what you said to us. It does reopen a wound for me every time I see the shirt. And I know you love it and blah, blah, blah. And I think what you have to do is offer a replacement. So they have these, like, actually, I'm going to show you this because this is the Bixby boys sent this to us
The Bixby's.
thinking I was going to hang this up in the carriage house. They obviously aren't listening to the show because they don't understand the level of luxury we're dealing with. But they sent us like this pennant. Do you see this?
Oh, yeah, it's so cute.
It's like a old 50s collegiate pennant.
Absolutely. Yeah, it looks like what hangs in, like, if you go to Chicago, all the titles.
Exactly. So
Like
it says
at the Bulls one or something.
Exactly. Proudly serving Bixby coffee, it says.
So cute.
And, we're not going to hang this in the carriage house. But we
could
my
call
point
someone who
is-
was on Project Runway and maybe they could make something for us.
a coat of arms for us. Yeah. I'd love that. An Ask Ronna with Ronna and Brian coat of arms. I'd
That'd be
love
great.
that. What would be on our coat of arms? Certainly a bag of coffee or a coffee mug,
A bag of coffee, some tomatoes.
a cup of bleach, some beefsteak tomatoes. Yeah.
Yeah. And something.
A wig of some kind. You're always suggesting a beret or a pair of glasses.
A wig and something very luxurious, either a cashmere throw, which
Or
would
maybe
be.
just a gorgeous manicure. And of course, maybe a leopard
That is good.
holding the shield. Yeah.
Yes.
In any event, I think you just have to say to her, it really, maybe you think I'm being oversensitive. It really reopens a wound for me. I'm not asking you to change the whole bathroom, but what I would love to do is give you a replacement for that. And they make these pennants or these flags or whatever it is. If you give me the dimensions of the picture or whatever, I'd love to have that made for you. And that would actually mean a lot to me. Something like that. I mean, you don't have to offer her a replacement, but I think it's a way of saying I'm willing to go out of my way I want to keep your shrine intact, but
what if she just got that something?
Yes, and you could also gift it to her and ask her to replace it.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I don't think there's a person on the planet that wouldn't understand if you said to them,
neither.
This reopens a wound for me. And
my only other thing is I think you could watch, if you haven't seen Kill Bill Part 1,
oh boy,
there's the section in the kitchen where Vivica Fox and Uma Thurman
Vivica A. Fox
and Uma A. Thurman are talking in the kitchen. And Vivica says, here's what we're going to do. We go to the park. We dress all in black, our hair in a black stocking, and we have a knife fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then you could see.
It could lead to that. Though in this case, I think it would be barbecue utensils or something like that.
Oh, right, because they're not necessarily
they just
assassins.
Strike me as those. No, they just strike me as those kind of people who do a lot of grilling when the weather's nice. And, you know,
they are.
Toronto Maple Leaf beer cozies, and
they're an all Canadian family.
Yes, but I think you just have to say something.
I
actually think, and if you want to put it in writing, that's fine. I think you don't have to call her up. You don't have to,
No.
But I can't imagine a woman to woman. I can't imagine, or mother to mother. I can't imagine she couldn't understand your perspective.
Yeah, I think she can't be. She's not that would really be, like you said, monstrous for her to have done that intentionally.
I think she's just coming from a place of it was a really cute little thing and she loved it. And so
but
she
you
put
have
it up.
every reason to be upset by it. That would be horrible to see every time you're over there.
You're
and
not
even to
being
think about.
unreasonable in any way. And the question about what someone does with a gift, I mean, I don't think this falls into that category. This was really an announcement gift. It wasn't, you don't like where they put the vase that you gave them. You wish they'd put it in the dining room and they put it in the living room. Yeah.
No, this was symbolic of you're going to be grandparents or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. Does Toronto have another team? Are they the Blue Jays or is that Montreal?
No, they have the Blue Jays as well.
Oh, okay. Well, so
And the
tell them
Maple Leafs.
to get into the Blue Jays instead.
No. Yeah, just tell them. Yeah, you know how it is with sports fans. Just tell Brian to get into Manilow instead of Streisand. Just switch, Brian.
I'll tell you what's not going to happen. You
just
can't
get into Manilow. You can't get into Manilow?
Not really.
Oh, but I mean, it's the same. They're both from New York.
You're right.
Barbara Streisand and Barry Manilow.
Ronna, how'd you think our advice was?
I have to say, I relived the trauma of that all over.
It was that one's a tough one. That is a tough one.
It was. But I still think that I don't think the mother-in-law was trying to hurt her in any way. I think she just thought small things were cute.
Yep.
I really do. But I'd love to have an update, and I'd love to know. I would really love an update to know if she ever brought it up with the mother-in-law.
Me too. That is another one that I think all these we're going to find that we want updates on, but that is for sure another one.
I think it was just a question of needing to reframe. Sometimes you have to reframe things for people.
You mean literally? Because didn't they have it framed?
I do mean literally. But I also mean reframing a conversation or an idea or a moment, because people are not always thinking about things the way that we are thinking about them. And sometimes you just have to reframe that for them. So,
Ronna,
or a piece of needlepoint, of course.
This is going to get under your skin.
Okay.
Our next question is from Ireland, which I think Adam O'Byrne. This is what happens. So
basically, these are all Adam justifying his citizenship all over the world.
Even though I think Tony picked them out, I think Adam is in Tony's ear about this show.
Fascinating.
I think Adam is Michigan flying to Tony's White House.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Did those two eventually, did they go down there yet? Do we know? What did Trump invited those?
I don't know what's going to happen. They might have gone down there.
What?
Maybe,
we didn't even discuss Rudy Giuliani.
stunning. Didn't you want to just lick it all up, Ronna? So sexy.
That's the most upsetting thing.
It is upsetting.
That anyone has said. Ugh.
That's worse than the Mabel comment.
Oh, well, how did this become a scatological show? All these
It
people are
truly
be
did.
thinking about eating during Thanksgiving week, and now they have to think about licking Rudy Giuliani's temple.
It really did look like his scalp had diarrhea.
He is unhinged.
He is an absolute lunatic. And you know what? If you weren't in a position of power, it'd be very fun.
Well, it actually is making me worry about whether he either has dementia or there's something going on. It wouldn't shock me to learn that Rudy Giuliani was bipolar.
Right.
And that had been for a long time. And that he is not medicated or that he's on some kind of heart medication.
Something has definitely derailed.
He has a screw loose.
Yep.
That was absolutely bananas. That was
completely bananas.
And who's that? I'm dying to know who the woman was that was standing behind him.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look that up.
She was incredible.
She was.
She was like she was like a host at Disneyland or she had that hair that she was a person who shows you to your seat.
Definitely. She was she's familiar with a cruise ship.
100%. And she had those big curlers in her hair.
She did. Very Kathy Lee,
smiling
like old
politely
school.
And laughing at all of my cousin Vinny jokes. Who are these people? This is a serious political endeavor, and she's laughing at my cousin Vinny jokes.
Disgusting. Okay. All right, Ronna. This question is honestly just as weird as Rudy Giuliani's head.
Yeah.
It was very bizarre. We originally read this on the free feed episode with our nearest and dearest kulab, Vili Sack.
Oh, who we love. Who's going to be coming back to the Carriage House, I think, soon.
Was on Patreon 19.
She has a new podcast out called Add to Cut, I think.
She certainly does. Which, by the way, is that the best title?
Yeah.
It is called Add to Cut.
And this was read on Patreon. Sorry, I cut you off, dear.
No, Patreon 19, is where we answered it.
Fabulous.
So this one was just weird and possibly even a little creepy. Take a listen.
Should we get to our cliffhanger?
Ronna, it is a Do's McBooze today. The cliffhanger. This was they've lately been so good.
And I'm starting to wonder, do they just make these things up? But I'll be honest with you, I don't care. We answer them either way.
Either way.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
I believe I read it on the free feed. Is that right?
I think so.
Oh, it's so hard to know.
It's so hard to know. Okay. Dear Ronna and Brian, hello from Ireland. So here's my question.
Oh, yeah.
My family decided at the start of March to move to the countryside as we have two small children, one with an immune condition and is considered very high risk. My wife could not move down as she works in a supermarket while I'm a solicitor and can work from home. My wife had set up cameras inside and outside this house before COVID for security. She then started using them to check in on us. The problem is sometimes she's turning on the cameras and just checking in, and I don't realize until I hear her voice coming from somewhere. It scares the shite out of me. Sometimes she stays silent and just watches us, which is unsettling. She's very tech savvy, while I am not. I understand that she's lonely at the moment. We miss her too, but I guess I find it a bit creepy. I asked her to just give notice before she checks in, but she said no, as that takes away from it. My idea was to start putting books and other items in front of the cameras for some privacy hours because, of course, the only place I can handle confrontation is at work. I can usually let things go after a while, but this is continually putting me on edge. Am I being unreasonable? How do I stop being stalked in my own home? Help. Also, thank you so much for this podcast. The 2 episodes a week is one of the only things getting me through this. As a longtime fan of you both individually, this has instantly become my favorite podcast. Sorry if this question was too long.
Yeah.
With a you. Warmest regards, Rachel.
I am dying to know what you think of this.
Well, this is all I'm going to say. I actually don't think there's anything sexy about this. And you know what I would say?
I'm sorry, did I miss something in the letter where there was the suggestion that perhaps
I'll tell you.
the sexiness was a factor?
It makes me
Talking
think
about two lesbians that live in the countryside. I mean, the only thing that's sexy here is, where are they buying their butter? But anyway, go on.
I don't think it's sexy. And because honestly, when I think of Ireland, I think of normal people. And also when I think of spying, I think of Sliver.
Sliver the movie?
Yeah. Which, by the way, Ronna, we were talking a little bit before this. Do you want to know what the last line of the movie Sliver is?
Who's in Sliver again?
Sharon Stone and William
Sharon
Baldwin.
Stone. Sliver, not Silver.
She was paid like $100 million for it because it was like the first thing up after Basic
right
Instinct.
After Basic Instinct. And he was supposed to be a star, Billy Baldwin.
He was supposed to be a star.
And then he married Chana Phillips.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then both of them, honestly, Ronna, both of them were supposed to be stars.
Well, and 2 5s is supposed to equal a 10, but reality TV hadn't happened yet.
That's
so
true.
we had to wait for Nick and Jessica to come around.
That's true.
They could have been Nick and Jessica.
They could have been.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'd still watch a reality show with them, though I think the truth is the two most boring people on earth.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
I think that's probably
so
true.
Sliver.
Okay, so the last line of Sliver is Sharon Stone after she's masturbated herself all over that movie, which was the big selling point. Well, Ronna, it's true. That was the big deal. Was that she touches herself in that movie. She got a lot of money for it. Anyway.
That was a big thing, Sharon Stone. She was willing to go bottomless.
Totally.
Everyone else was topless. She was willing to go bottomless.
And
you got to have a hook.
You gotta
in Hollywood.
You gotta have a hook. And she's a real movie star. So last line, I think she was. I think, what I think, honestly, Ronna? This is Quiff-centric. If Hitchcock had been alive, she would have had an incredible career.
Yes, and she would have slept with him all day long.
All day long.
Yeah, until she didn't. Yeah.
She's all about a business deal.
Yes, she would have had him running in circles.
It's true.
No
she
question.
Totally
yeah.
The last line she says to William Baldwin
is... That's a very good observation about her.
Yeah, I think she would have been a star.
She would have been a real Hitchcock
blonde,
girl.
icy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she was pretty much a Hitchcock girl, I suppose, in Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah.
She turns to William Baldwin and after she finds out he's been spying on everybody and she says, "Get a life." Fade to black. That's the end of the movie. So my thing is this.
It's unbelievable that I haven't seen it since it came out.
It's truly one of our best.
With a line under. Joe Estehaus read it. He wrote all the worst movies.
Probably.
He wrote Showgirls. Got paid $3 million for Showgirls. Which, by the way, did you know there's some Showgirls documentary out now?
No.
Came out this past week or the week before. Some kind of a Showgirls documentary or a shot for shot. Who knows?
There's a documentary of
I fell asleep
Company.
on top of my microphone while I was talking about it.
Okay, the
Company,
point is
the
this.
Stephen Sondheim show.
Yeah, so they did a documentary of them. That's the Polo Lane Stritch when they recorded. They did a documentary of them recording the cast album that was released briefly, and you can find clips on YouTube that are so incredible.
Yeah,
and it's just Elaine Stritch hearing her voice going, "Shut up!" because she's so mad she's getting the notes wrong, and it's wild. She's smoking, and she just goes wrong. She gets really upset with herself.
So get a life.
Okay. This is why she can't really confront her wife about it, because if I know anything about Ireland, I know it's just like the TV series Normal People. People don't want to confront anybody. But it is sexy. This is not a sexy situation. And I understand that this is not a situation in which she wants to confront her wife. But it's fucking weird. It's weird. And I think it's absolutely inappropriate. And I would do the books. I would do the books, especially what does she mean it takes away from it? What does that mean?
She wants to observe them in their natural habitat.
Why?
She wants to see the baby playing, or the kid, however old these kids are, instead of having the kid come to the camera and say, "Hi, da, da, da." She wants to feel like she's in the room with them.
Well, they do that with one room, like a playroom or something, like a nanny cam.
Okay.
But
I'm
all
listening.
over the house, that is very unsettling. And her just starting to talk out of nowhere. I don't know. I don't listen, I wouldn't even like it if like the lobstermen or whomever, if I was like working around the house and they were just sitting there looking at me the whole time. I would hate that.
So you want me to unplug the cameras in the carriage house? Is that what you're saying?
There's some in the carriage house?
You're saying you would appreciate it if instead of me waiting for you to tell me when you take the large cast iron skillet, I tell you.
Honestly, Ronna,
I know you've taken it.
I think you would appreciate it. I think it would actually benefit you more than me to take those out.
Let's get real here for a second. Have you ever heard of an electrical outlet?
Yeah.
Unplug the goddamn camera.
But what if it's set up with wireless or something?
First of all, if you can, well, it has a battery in it. Take the battery out of it. Whatever it is. Listen, I understand these people don't like confrontation. Of course I understand that. But if you can't confront your own wife, which by the way, is this a confrontation or is this a conversation? This is a conversation. They've already opened this conversation. She's already told her.
That sounds like a Janet Jackson lyric. Is this a confrontation or is it a conversation?
Well, I mean, she and I have more than a couple of things in common.
Sure.
And it's not just our love for
luxury,
silver hardware, yeah. For luxury, for silver belts, yeah.
Sure.
But this is your wife, okay? You're in a family with this person. This isn't someone that you're dating. This isn't someone that you work with. This is blah, 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 blah. And obviously there's some of the imbalance in this relationship, which is, let's face it, the solicitor makes all the money and the other one works in a grocery store. And I don't care if she owns the grocery store, okay? Which she doesn't. But I don't care if she owns the grocery store. One of them works in a grocery store and one of them's a lawyer, okay?
Right.
So the lawyer has a little bit of guilt about being and also the lawyer is able to go be with the kids and be in the country and the other one isn't. And so she doesn't want to make her feel left out of what's going on with the family. But this is totally an invasion of privacy. And if you're, as a solicitor, you don't know that, then, this FedEx guy. Now I read his letter. He won't stop. He just came by the window.
Ronna, you dug that grave. That's all I'm going to say.
You're absolutely right.
That is your mess now.
I should have given him the Easter baskets for his children.
Listen, I told you I didn't like that guy or trust him.
Okay. Well, that should have been an endorsement of his character, not the opposite. But in any event, it's creepy. Okay?
Creepy.
And I don't care whether she's into it or she's not into it or she feels left out or she doesn't feel left out. If you want to find another way to make up for that, which is nightly FaceTimes or organizing a certain time or whatever it is. And then the other thing is we're going to pretend that safety is obviously the reason they put the cameras in the first place was the safety thing.
Sure, because but that's for the outside.
They're not at the house, and they're not at the house all the time. Right. If you want to have something in the house because you're upstairs and at night you worry about something coming through the front door, whatever it is, that's fine. Turn your cameras on before you go to bed and make that part of the routine. And if you have to write a note and put it on the wall at the light switch to your bedroom door so that you remember, then go ahead and do that. But we've moved beyond safety here and we've moved into some other weird world that we're living in. And you don't like it and you don't feel comfortable. And so it has to end. That's the end of it. And there can be a bargain here of some kind where if like you said, maybe it's in the playroom or maybe there's a time that they make for this to have these kind of conversations or whatever it is. But if it's really a safety camera, then she needs to, and if what you need to do is unplug it so that she understands that you may not be tech savvy, but you know what a plug is, then you can go ahead and do that.
And yeah, or like you said, schedule a time or something because I don't know. It would be very easy to drive her crazy in this situation. Like you could do an us and lower your voice very deep and make your eyes roll crazy and say that you're the substitute for who used to be there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And then just to have her drive out to the country. And then you could say, if you want to spend time, you know what you should do? Look at her and say, kids are tomatoes.
Oh, here we go. What's
Quit your job.
Tomatoes?
Quit your job. Bring me some beefsteak. Call it a night. And turn off the cameras. Turn off the cameras.
Bring me some beefsteak. Unplug the goddamn cameras if you don't want them on.
Yeah.
And then plug them back in. And if the thing is she's tech savvy and I'm not, guess what? All these things just have a password. It's just another website that has another password where you turn the thing on and turn the thing off. Even I can do it.
But I tell you,
Brian's camera is on every morning and I turn them off every night when I go to bed.
That's right. But she doesn't know what happens in the middle of the night. That's when I really let loose.
Yes, that's when he starts contracting COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Ronna.
I'm sure you're a sleepwalker.
You know, I have before.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but I am.
You have sleepwalked?
When I was
before?
a child, I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been a long.
Was it dangerous? Or people they find you in their room? Was it the kind of sleepwalking where you were awake asleep?
I don't know.
What
I would
mean
just
by that?
it would be the kind of thing
Would
where
you have a whole
I'd
conversation?
I'd wake up and I'd be on like my brother's bedroom floor or my sister's bedroom floor. Like it was stuff
Yeah.
like that. I think it's just
Okay.
I didn't want to be alone or something. I don't know.
Sure. But not somebody had a whole conversation with you while you were asleep.
No.
Yeah.
But that would be kind of cool.
Fun.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah. You guess what? Stand up to your wife a little bit. Okay.
That's true.
I understand you feel guilty because you're more educated and you make more money and she's
Yeah.
better looking, and I get it. Okay.
Or you're a solicitor, sue her.
Yeah. Well, or tell her, open the page to the book in the Magna Carta or whatever they're using where she lives and say, there isn't much in the Magna Carta. That's the whole thing with the Magna
It's
Carta.
true.
They don't write anything down. And just say, this is where it says no cameras. Excuse me. Now, wait a minute.
Ronna, I was convinced that this was only creepy, even though I think she followed up and said that everything was okay.
No, what she did was she followed up and she attacked us. Do you remember that?
For suggesting that camera was on too much.
She wrote back and said basically that we had, as I recall, that we had been too negative about her wife. And all that told me was that her wife also listens to the show and that everything we gave in the advice was correct, which is that she's scared of a wife. That was the advice that we gave.
Uh-huh.
But she wrote back and she sort of wrote back in a sort of jovial fashion.
Yeah, I was going to say, yes.
Oh, I don't know what gave you the idea.
How you could extrapolate that. Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yep.
And we said, listen, dear, this is our policy, Brian. If people send us questions, we're going to answer them.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So don't write back to us and be outraged that we answered your question that you sent to us.
That's also what I want to say. We are listen, one of us is extremely intelligent. The other fakes it till he makes it. But I will say this. You can't fool both of us into being like, well, how did they think of that? I mean, it usually is a pretty, A plus B equals C situation.
And you don't have to agree with what we say. We're not
Certainly
saying
not.
our
And maybe
advice
we
is
are wrong.
perfect.
No.
We're just telling you what we read from your letter.
Correct.
And, I
In
wouldn't
that
mind,
moment, in that context.
Wouldn't mind a little update 6 or so months later on that either.
Me too.
Okay. Oh, now this is our all-time best cliffhanger, maybe. I'm going to say
Oh, God. I think you're right.
This was, if you want to be
Oh, my God. This was.
If you want to be delighted that you're not spending time with your in-laws this Thanksgiving, if you need a little relief to know what it's like to everyone has this fantasy of what Thanksgiving is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then there's the reality. And
Ronna,
sometimes the reality is that your father-in-law is smoking the very end of your cigarettes that you're already trying to hide from everybody.
Yep.
The very end of your butts
And he's
out
lying
of
about
the
it.
ashtray. And he's a renowned surgeon or doctor of some kind.
Who won't stay in a hotel.
And he's lying about it. This was one of my all-time favorites.
This might be my number one favorite question of all time.
Yeah. This was with Lamont Morris. We did this one. Who we adore. How fun was Lamont? His show
So fun.
got picked up for season 2. Woke.
I
the
saw.
Doing, which of course it did.
Woke on Hulu.
So fabulous.
We've had
People-
2 of the stars of Woke on this show.
That's right. We had Sashia.
Exactly. And
we had
Lamorne.
Lamorne. And we will say right now out loud to them, congratulations on their big pickup.
Absolutely.
And this was answered on Patreon 24.
Shoosh, it sure
Oy,
was.
let's give it a listen. All right. This is one hell of a cliffhanger.
One of my
I have
faves
to
ever.
say. Yeah.
MVP.
This is the epitome of a cliffhanger to me.
I agree.
This is what we're looking for in a cliffhanger, if people are wondering.
Completely.
Yeah. Dear Ronna and Brian, thank you so much for all that you both give in your Ask Ronna and Brian podcast. Well, it's really not exactly what it's called, but yeah.
It was nearly what it's called.
It's very close.
I keep getting a lot of letters saying it should be what it's called, Ronna. Mostly from the lobsterman, but
with
still.
With an ampersand, or are they spelling out the A-N-D? Has he learned to spell coffee yet?
We have a trick for it.
Yeah.
Where I say, remember, double, double, which means 2 F's, 2 E's.
I say.
And so now he does. I just have to But anyway, he's been telling all his friends about it. But so anyway, I don't know. He's going to try and sell out of the bag because they don't want to buy a full bag. So I gave him a bag. And so he's doing 4 tablespoons for $1.
Like Malcolm X when he was 9 years old, he's selling loose cigarettes.
Exactly. He's selling 4 tablespoons of coffee for $1.
They used to call those Lucy's. You could buy 1 cigarette.
That's right, a Lucy. Yeah. So he's doing that.
So he's doing coffee Lucy's.
Yeah. And honestly, I have to be honest with you, Ronna, he's only making profit $1.
I'd love to know what he's charging a scoop. That's what I'd love to know.
Yeah.
I'd love to see how he takes his coffee. I'm sure it's like sludge.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's off Dunkin' Donuts, I'm impressed. Very impressed.
He loves it.
Yeah. In addition to the COVID-19 situation we're all enduring, I've been going through some major health battles. These things get me down, of course, but you both give me such joy every week. I should be embarrassed to admit this, but I bet I'm not alone. You two have had me laughing so hard that I have had to run to the bathroom for fear of wetting myself.
That's great.
She's like Brooklyn Decker. I saw that she posted that she wears incontinence underpants when she has a period because she's given birth to 2 children.
Well, You know what? I think we're all better for knowing that.
You know what? She's probably destigmatizing it. So
That's true.
Nobody asked, but thank you for sharing.
They rarely do.
I don't know why she doesn't do those other underwears instead, though. What do they call underwears? Listen to me. Where am I from?
The really thick ones?
No, why can't I think of the name of these? Oh, they're all going crazy. They all know what they're called.
Is it a major brand or kind of like a niche brand?
They think they're called She Thinks or something.
They are.
Like
She
that.
Thinks. That's right.
Yeah. So the underwear for women, I can't quite wrap my head around it.
With a heavy flow?
You can wear them whatever flow you have menstruating, and then you can wash them supposedly. And they're actually one of those incredible companies that is sort of helping women in third world countries who are stigmatized and can't work when they're on the menstrual cycle.
Sure.
To overcome that because they can't afford sanitary napkins and things like that, which is more expensive and cost prohibitive than you would think.
Most homeless shelters say sanitary napkins and socks are the 2 things they need the most.
I'm so glad we had this conversation.
Me too. I feel better for it.
I have a dilemma that I'm hoping you can help me handle. What I'm about to share happened pre-pandemic, but will likely be a recurring event in the future. When my mother-in-law and father-in-law came to town, they decided to stay with my husband and me in our small New York City apartment, even though they could afford to stay at a nice hotel. I already have a problem.
Well, then why didn't? Okay, yeah.
Because this is what's wrong with people. Why don't you be class secretary today and mark that as the first thing we need to address, okay?
Yeah.
We made an effort to show them the city and went out frequently for walks or to share a meal in a restaurant. Okay.
Nice.
I am a smoker. My in-laws are both ex-smokers and physicians. I got a ton of pressure from them about my smoking and about quitting. I was puzzled when I noticed that my cigarette butts in the ashtray seemed much smaller, smoked all the way down, than was my habit. But
animals.
But thought nothing of it. I love this question. However, as the days of their visit wore on, I saw a pattern. My father-in-law kept forgetting things, which would necessitate his going back into the apartment to find whatever it was, while we all waited on the street. Well, I put 2 and 2 together and decided to find an excuse to go back into the apartment after he had done so. You love that. That's a real sneak move. You love a sneak move. I love it.
On the case.
After he had done so. Where did I go? Okay. Sure enough, it was smoky inside of our bathroom. He had been smoking my butts. What a hypocrite he is. I was blown away. I mean, this man is a neurosurgeon of great reputation. I'm so angry because of all the crap he has been giving me. I did not out him or confront him about his behavior. My husband didn't want me to. Plus, they are from a culture where respect for one's elders is mandatory. However, this will inevitably happen the next time we are all together. What should I do? Is there a way I can talk to him about this? Thank you again for all the laughter and sage advice. Patricia.
Patricia, you have got the best problem on your hands.
This is a blast.
There's so many delicious ways to do this.
You got nothing but currency, Patricia. You are in the catbird seat right now.
Completely. There are so many ways you can relish in this. One is after a meal. You know how sometimes this is, I guess, more old school, but at a restaurant, people would have a mint or like an Andes or something minty to finish the thing.
An after eight or an Andes. Yeah.
Exactly.
I love an Andes because they're layered.
I love them.
Yeah.
They're so pretty too. I love that seafoam green.
I used to try to eat the top off and get to the middle, but it's very
Me
hard.
too.
Yeah.
I would too. I would try to what do they call it when you
deconstruct
deconstruct an Andes?
Yeah.
One option is you could at the end of a meal pass around a mint and then pass around your butts and say, I'm not sure if you wanted to smoke the rest of these after dinner now. You could also offer them one before bed and say or you could say, I have to clean out the ashtray. Do you want to smoke the butts before I do it?
I was going to throw these out. Do you want them?
Exactly. Or you could also just do something very sly and simple oh, hey, when you smoke in the bathroom, or I actually don't smoke in the bathroom, so I don't mind if you smoke my cigarette butts out here. I just feel like there's a way to be casual about this that would be exciting and maybe not necessarily. I guess the only hiccup is those all might be disrespectful, but you've really got a good hand here.
I think whenever the father says something to her, if he ever says anything to her again, she should look at him and she should say, do you really want to have this conversation?
Do you really want to talk?
I just think that will chill him to the bone.
I do too.
And I think what he needs is to be chilled to the bone.
He's going to have to retire because his hands are going to be way too shaky after that conversation.
That is so fun. It's true.
It's true.
I mean, I think this is a revenge best served cold, I think.
Absolutely.
I think this is not, and I want to talk to you about this and da-da-da-da. I think if next time he says anything to him, to you, you should just turn around and say, do you really want to have this conversation?
That is good.
And he'll just sort of say, well, da-da-da-da-da. You really want to have it?
Yep.
Da-da-da-da-da. Okay. I'm going to go outside and have a cigarette now.
Yep.
Because I smoke.
Also, the power of addiction. I mean, these people are running back into this home to smoke 2 or 3 puffs of a cigarette.
Well, there's all these other pieces to it, too, because I think probably the mother-in-law doesn't smoke anymore. And
right. So he's hiding it from everybody.
Well, except that he's hiding it from nobody because he stinks of cigarettes. There isn't a person that has a cigarette that doesn't come out smelling like a cigarette.
Absolutely.
But the mother is trapped in the same dynamic as the daughter-in-law because the mother can't say to him, you smell like cigarettes. She doesn't feel that she can say that to him. So he's sort of, playing this game with all of them. And I think that the mother is no longer smoking, and I think he is, and I think it's also why he likes to stay with them.
I was about to say, I think the only thing keeping them out of that hotel room is that he can find a cigarette and smoke it in your place.
100%. He's a secret
otherwise,
smoker,
why
he's like Obama. He's a secret smoker.
Completely.
And he's tried to quit, And the truth is he doesn't really want to quit.
Because otherwise, why would either of these people, or why would the parents even want to stay with the kids in a small New York apartment if they are doing very well, both of them, and they can afford something else?
You're asking the wrong person this question because this is something I will never understand.
You never have stayed with Jordan?
No, never in a million years. Even the first night he got his apartment on Christopher Street, I didn't stay in that apartment.
Right.
I don't want to stay with my son. I want my son to stay with me. But I don't want to stay with my son. I mean, someday I assume Jordan will have a gorgeous home and blah blah
Sure,
blah.
you'll have your own
and
wing or
he'll
house
have kids or whatever it is, and I'll get to come stay and take care of the babies or whatever it is. You know, if his wife allows it, we'll see what happens. But
well, sure. I mean,
and so his spouse, you know, and so
she allows like a surrogate or yeah.
So, well, I mean, hopefully there won't be infertility issues, but who knows? You know, look,
you never
they'll
know.
do whatever they need to do.
Never know.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're getting ahead of ourselves. And so there were people that will go visit their children in college and stay in their dorm room because they all want to be together. And everyone thinks it's perfectly normal. And I'm telling you, you would think this is because of economics. It really isn't. I mean, anyone can afford a night at the Sleep Inn or the, Super 8 or the, and then up and up and up, a Hampton Inn or a whatever,
Motel
Courtyard
6,
Marriott.
whatever it is.
So to be truthful, there are a lot of very clean, perfectly fine options when
Totally.
you have to go visit somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
Not everybody has to stay at the Mandarin Oriental. But these people can afford to. And they want to stay in this tiny New York apartment. Part of it might be familial, this idea that the people, kind of like when Big Ed took a shower with Rosemary's father.
Oh, sure. Like they think they're doing them a favor?
That this is what we do. We bathe together. As a family, we bathe together. This is what we do. I'll never forget that rat as long as I live. That Palomino-colored rat that was just...
That rat that was truly... It had escaped a lab too late. That rat was really mangy, even for a rat.
Oh, that rat was on its very last leg. But in any event, he's staying with her to smoke these cigarettes. And when the wife says even a little something about you smell, he says it's because Patricia smokes. So she is literally a smoke screen in addition to being a smoker.
Yeah.
Patricia, you hold a lot of cards here. I would enjoy them.
I'm jealous.
This
is the kind of news I would just like you said, no matter if it's your style or my style, it's just something you sort of throw away and look at them.
I would love to have this over somebody.
They will be brought to their knees. Please fill us in on what you end up doing.
Yeah.
I'm dying.
But I mean, if the guilt trip gets a little too strong, if they really do guilt trip her too hard, first of all, she has to detach herself from their opinion in that realm anyway.
And you need to tell your husband they can't stay there.
I agree with that. Actually,
that's absurd.
I think that the husband knows too about this. And so I don't think this is like, have your husband say something. I think this is all yours and you should enjoy every second. Don't lose any control over this.
Absolutely. This is yours.
This is a real reckoning where the father-in-law gets to learn I'm not to be messed with. And also, how disgusting to smoke the cigarettes. You know what else you could do?
It is haunting.
Here's another thing you could do. You could leave next to the ashtray a full pack of cigarettes with a lighter on it.
That's pretty great.
That's fun. See if he goes for a fresh one.
Yep.
Just leave a pack next to it. Figure out what his old brand was. I'm sure you know. And just leave a pack with a lighter next to it.
Do it.
It's also a way to bond with him, I hate to say it, because you could always give him a wink. You could always give him a wink.
That's why in social situations, if you're new to a town, the first thing you should do is pick up smoking. Because you'll find your people. Ronna, I just don't understand how they didn't follow up. I want to know. We had so many plans for her to hatch.
They did.
What happened?
We got a follow-up from her, and it was dark as could be. She is no longer with the husband.
Oh, my God.
The husband...
He didn't have anything to do with this letter.
Now, the husband, I can't remember how much of this I was allowed to share on the free feed, which is probably why we didn't share it.
Okay.
But the husband, suffice to say, the husband had some instability. And that she and the husband are no longer together. But that means that she doesn't have to deal with the in-laws anymore.
That's true. I mean, I guess that is a silver lining.
Yeah, but it sounded like things really came to a head and exploded with the husband, and then now they're no longer together.
Well, I hope she's okay.
Well, I hope so too. I hope the husband's okay too. All of these,
Yeah.
it sounded like a real pressure cooker of
Sure.
the situation. So, but that's one of my all-time favorites.
Me too. It was that question just ticked every box for me.
So listen, if people are seeing their family, if they're not seeing their family, we want them to know that we always consider them family here in the
It's
Carriage
absolutely
House.
true.
We can't believe, we're so grateful for all of our fabulous fans and how much support we get from you. We love doing the show, but it means so much to us that the way that you receive it and that you trust us with your most intimate, complicated questions. We hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Look, what's the point of Thanksgiving? To eat something delicious.
Yeah.
So eat it. So if you have to eat it by yourself this year, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
I
You
can't
might
have too
delight
much.
in it more.
I can't have too much of this crybaby stuff over Thanksgiving. I have to say.
I know.
There's
You're done with that.
Well, the world is just. We are in a very precarious place right now.
We're asking
So-
for one holiday off or one
Let's all-
Thanksgiving off.
Let's all take it on the chin a little bit.
Yeah.
And does it matter that I'll be in the vineyard and it'll be gorgeous because the vineyard's also Massachusetts and that, so I can
Right.
do that. That's allowed.
Well,
I
will
can
you be having cohogs,
within
Ronna?
I won't be having cohogs like you'll be having with the lobsterman, of course.
All right.
Do people know what cohogs are? They'll have to look them up.
They're like stuffed baked clams.
It's a real New England delicacy, the quahog.
Yeah. That's why she's. Well, you know what I'm going to do, Ronna, now that you said that? I am going to actually come to Martha's Vineyard after I stop off at the party at the Lobsterman's mom's because I'll bring a plate on the ferry.
Oh, okay. So you'll come to Martha's Vineyard and then we'll see you 2 weeks from now. After
No.
Quarantined after
No, I
going
can
to
get there
their
the
house.
same day, Ronna. What?
You're going to have to quarantine after you go to their house. That's for sure.
No, because
are
I'll be on the
people doing
sea
rapid
air.
testing? Oh, the sea, of course.
I'll
The
be
sea-
right by the salt.
I apologize. The sea air will clear everything. It's great for the Constitution, the sea air. It truly is.
Listen,
Yeah.
Katharine Hepburn lived to be too old because of the sea air.
200 at least. But listen, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Anyone who is in our Patreon Carriage House will know that the book club is this Friday. It's Ruman Alam, Leave the World Behind. So people have time if they want to. It's only 241 pages. So
You
people,
should read it, and it's a quick read, and it was a really good conversation.
It's a great sort of allegory or for what's going on in our world right now. And
No
I think it's
kidding.
so interesting that he wrote this before, but it has a lot of the mood of what we're all going through now, but it's really quite compelling.
Yes.
And then next week is Ronnukah. So buckle up.
the day has come.
Well, all these people have their break over Thanksgiving, and you and I had to keep working because we've got to do Ronnukah.
Look,
So
we listen. Does Santa have helpers in the carriage house? Of course.
yeah.
But that
But
doesn't
when it
mean
comes
that.
down to the picks, not for Ronnukah, we pick.
Oh, you're right.
We are
you're
the
right.
first line of picking
That's true.
when it comes to Ronnukah.
Tried
These are
and true.
Brian's suggestions. These are my suggestions.
That's right.
And then we also have a couple of fabulous people sent in, which for the first time this year, we're gonna share a couple that other people have sent in too. So
Now, I hope that those people whose opinion gets shared with what to get understands what a VIP situation that is.
The level
The
that we're
level.
talking about. Yeah.
This is not just a velvet rope. This is like a door behind the velvet rope and through a tunnel up a wall. Like no one's invited to this party ever.
I hope the people who aren't chosen understand why. That's
Yeah.
what I hope.
Me too,
Yeah.
Ronna. Me
Yeah.
too. That's my holiday wish.
All right, dear. Happy
All right.
Thanksgiving to everyone, and we will see you next week.
Perfect.
Kiss, kiss.